So in today's video, I want to steelman the case why the Leica M Monochrome is the best digital camera that Leica makes. Most of you will probably disagree with this statement, but hear me out. So reason number one is concept. Leica is a niche player in the camera industry in today's game, but one of the things that they have as a tagline is Das Wesentliche, where they basically say that they want to focus on the essentials of photography. How can you achieve the perfect camera within this minimalist philosophy? It's not by adding features that you reach it, it's by reaching a point where you can no longer remove something. And if you look at a digital rangefinder that can only shoot in black and white, I think you basically reached that step and created the minimalist camera that is like the perfect symbol of Leica as a brand. Reason number two is styling. Take for example the digital M lineup, where you have the standard edition M with the red dots. You oftentimes also have the P version of that same model, representing the professional issue, which has a couple of extra features, also remove the red dots, a couple of aesthetic changes. You also have the reporter version with green. Sometimes you have a couple of limited editions, a couple of collaborations with different brands. But you also have the monochrome version, which is like the ultimate stripped down version. Now, personally, I've never been a big fan of the large red dot on the Leica cameras themselves. So naturally, I prefer the ones that are a little bit more stripped down, like the P version. I just think that the monochrome is just one step up from the P version by the small details where they dechromed everything and replaced it by black elements. And also the small etching on the body indicating monochrome. Really nice touch. On top of that, if you look at all these special editions, typically they keep their value a little bit better than the standard issue, certainly because they are much more limited in numbers. So that also helps in safeguarding a bit of the resale value by going for a special edition versus a standard edition version of the M. Reason number three is the positioning of the monochrome digital camera within the wider market of cameras, especially considering a lot of photographers have multiple cameras at their disposal, and oftentimes there is a lot of overlap in features between those cameras, and you create this choice paralysis if you bring multiple of these cameras along. With the digital monochrome, it's much less the case, and oftentimes it doesn't compete with other color cameras, it complements it. You have a very specific, very clear use case for your digital monochrome camera. In my personal case, for example, I really like shooting film in color, so I bring a Mamiya 7 to do some color work, and I use my M10 monochrome as the dedicated camera for black and white photography. So for me, it's much easier in my head to grab for the right gear at the right time. Also, if you look at other brands, most of them don't have a dedicated digital monochrome camera. I think only Pentax has a camera that does monochrome only. All the others use color sensors, the color filter on it. You basically have to convert to black and white or use some type of recipe or JPEG setting in order to get in-camera black and white images. So although it's clearly a very, very specialized niche, it's a niche where there isn't a lot of competition. So again, it makes perfect sense for Leica to jump into this niche and really provide something that is quite unique in the market. Reason number four is image quality. By not having a Bayer color filter before the sensor and just having a sensor that is dedicated to capturing luminance, in theory, there is a higher level of detail, a higher level of perceived resolution almost that you can achieve with a monochrome dedicated sensor. Personally, I'm not too technical in these things, but when I look at the files that I get out of my M10 monochrome, I think they're just truly stunning. Apart from the fact that you can get perfectly usable results with extremely high ISOs, I think there's just a level of clarity, a level of sharpness that I get with two lenses that I use, the 50 Sumilux and the 35 Summicron. It's something that you just need to see. I will also leave a link in the description to a webpage where I will post full res images so that you can check them out in their full quality and see just how amazing these files really are. And my fifth and final reason is lifespan, and the fact that because this camera doesn't rely on color science or certain film simulations or recipes or presets that typically evolve with newer cameras, it just means that this camera has timelessness written all over it. Black and white photography is basically going back to the early days of photography, and as I think most of us will share the same sentiment, monochrome images, they just stand the test of time a lot better than color photos. And it's for that reason I think that if you invest in a camera like this, in my case I even bought this one secondhand, I think you will enjoy the camera much longer typically than a color camera, and also in the long run depreciation will also be a little less. You will not be yearning for something new because apart from resolution and a little bit of dynamic range that you can gain, I think most of it is packed in these cameras, and they will give you photography joy for years and years to come. So was I able to convince you that the Leica M monochrome is Leica's best digital camera, or do you have another one that you prefer? I'm sure I will see you in the comments.